So I've had this camera with this, this helmet with this camera wired up to it for a while. Never really did any kind of recording, but I just made a car payment and it's warm outside. This is the first, 80-degree day we've had since winter. So I decided to do a little video on my new, to me, bike at least, which is a Triumph Speed Triple 07, right at 12,000 miles on it. For people that are interested in this style of bike, which would be more like an upright sport touring, I guess technically. I came off of a Gixxer 750 and I absolutely love the change. It's different for sure. Especially this bike. I mean, it's so short. It's got the single side swing arm, more upright seating position. It's got these little bar and mirrors that don't do much, and then a little blinkers down there. The back's kind of integrated. It's not as sleek as like a Super Sport would be by any means, but it flows pretty nice for having so much open parts on the bike. The double headlights are cool. I think they switched that in 2012, 2014, something like that. They switched to the newer looking ones. I kind of like the old school looking ones, but I guess that's each his own. Also, if you're ever watching a video, if it ever gets to that point with this, it's probably not going to make it past my computer, but if it does, I guess things to keep in mind too, like for me, mid-20s, but insurance was a huge factor. This is about $50 cheaper a month, 50% cheaper a month really to insure than the Gixxer was. And the Gixxer was a good bike all in all. I mean, it gobs of power, would pull that wheel up, I guess, coming out of turns. It handled real well in the mountains. That's one thing I don't know about this. I know you see videos of people tracking these things real hard and all that kind of stuff. I just don't know how difficult that's going to be. Everything that I've experienced is it will handle the same. You just have to do way more user input. So it's not having clip-ons and having these upright bars. You actually have to kind of, I wouldn't say throw the bike, but you have to kind of show it who's in charge, more so than like the other ones where you can just, a little push and a little pull, and it will get it to fall for you. But besides that, unless you're like if you're hardcore into tracking, you really wouldn't be looking at a bike like this anyways. And that's what a lot of people, I guess, don't understand is, especially around here, man, you have all these people that, if it's not a leader bike, then it's not even like I'm selling my 750. I had plenty of people saying that 750 was just a beginner bike and that they needed something bigger once they got acclimated with it, I guess. And you mess around and kill yourself learning on a 750. I know it's possible. My first real bike was a 1200. It was a Bandit, so it's not really quite the same kind of power as a Super Sport or anything, but it's doable. It's probably not the most forgiving, especially if you're trying to learn how to ride corners and stuff. I spent a good bit of time up in the mountains riding when I was at college, and you have people in Ninja 300s that are riding circles around other people just because they know actually how to ride, and they can make, have the entry speed up and that carry that speed through the turn a lot better than a lot of people can. But as far as this bike goes, it has a unique sound. It has that little 3-cylinder noise, I guess is what I've heard people call it. The funny story is the reason I got this bike is actually I found a Ducati 998 for sale locally, and it needed some engine work, but the bike itself was real cheap, and it looked like all it needed was the one valve was leaking. So I was like, okay, well, had ride it 13,000 miles, so I was like, it's gonna need a timing belt, a timing chain done, and all that stuff. And I was like, it's worth it for the price I can get it for. But after I did some farther investigation on it, the shop that had it didn't know anything about it. It was a Harley dealership, so they just weren't used to it. They cracked the fairings trying to take them off, and so I'd already sold my bike and went to go get that, and I was disappointed with that once I went back to actually pick it up. So I didn't get that, and looking at the Ducati, it kind of got me more towards getting away from like a Japanese bike and more towards a European British bike. And I will say, like, it's, you know, it's probably not as reliable in the grand scheme of things as a Japanese bike, or, you know, but it's just so much cooler. Like, the looks of it are unique, the way it runs. Single side swing arm I'm a huge fan of. Really want to get the wheels on this powder coated at some point so that I can make that swing arm pop out a little bit. I think I'm going to get them done gold. I'm not sure yet. And then, you know, comfort wise, I can ride this thing all day. I put 200 miles on it yesterday, day before, just cruising around. I normally wear a leather jacket and boots and jeans and everything, but today all I was doing was running from the bank to the gym. I just got off work and it was so nice outside that I was like, I'll risk it. I'm not really going much over 35, so I guess I'm an adult and I'll make that call. I'm sure everybody has their own opinion on it. I'm sure people are pretty vocal in their opinions on that kind of thing. But yeah, so if you're ever interested in or considering getting a bike kind of like the Speed Triple, and I mean, I even know like the big name companies, they all have their own. I was actually looking at a Z900, I think is what it was called for a while, but they were just so expensive and the reviews were so mixed. I looked at that. I looked at FZ09, FZ07. Suzuki has one. I don't know off the top of my head what theirs is called. I know they have the GSX 750 S or whatever it is. Or F, I don't know. But I think everybody's kind of, and I think all the companies are kind of not migrating towards it because they've been around for a while, but maybe putting a little more research into what they, I don't know, more money into advertising and stuff, because these are definitely way more practical bikes. I mean, you can ride it farther, you can get some kind of bag on it, doesn't look absolutely ridiculous. Insurance is something that I'm a huge proponent for. I don't really ride without full coverage, and then full coverage is definitely cheaper on this and another bike and the different classes. And funny thing is, I don't ride without full coverage, but I've never had an accident or anything. I've just been around people that haven't had it, and they get into an accident and low side, high side up in the mountains, and they're out a complete bike because they didn't want to pay an extra $50 a month. It just doesn't make sense to me. Actually, I have a couple other bikes, and one of the bikes I have is a Honda Fury. And the reason I got that one to begin with was because when I first went back from college, I'd sold my couple of sport bikes, so I was building a little track car at the time, and I needed some money, so I sold my sport bike. It was a 636, and I moved back, got established here, got a full-time job or whatever. I wanted another bike, so I ended up buying a Honda Fury just because price-wise it was about the same as everything else I was looking at, but insurance was just so much cheaper. And then since then I've advanced a little in my career and can afford a couple other ones now, so I've had 4 or 5 in the last year that I kind of cycled through. Keep it in the Fury though. That bike gets a lot of hate from people that ride Harleys and stuff, but I'll tell you what, as far as comfort goes and reliability on that thing, and I mean, it makes good power too for freaking chopper. Handle's not bad either. You know, it's, I guess, all in what you like. There's so many bikes out there. Everybody is going to have something that they like more than another bike, but I guess the real purpose of this was just kind of to blab for a couple minutes as to why I chose a Triumph. I don't know if I really even answered that, but it was also to test out the angle and the audio quality of this camera in case I were to ever want to get into moto vlogs or anything of that nature. I also have a GoPro Hero 5 that I just got, and I haven't had a way to mount it up yet. I'm going to probably put it on the tail of here. Maybe I can put it on the tank. I normally have my phone here though, so probably the tail's a little better. Now my, I guess, other GoPro on the tank or whatever. But there's a bunch of options out there, but so hopefully the little bit of talking I did that wasn't very direct at all. Hopefully if you have any doubts or concerns, I might have answered some of them, and then if you have any questions or whatever, I'm more than happy to check in anything that you want, answer it or whatever. But yeah.